Mortal Kombat Deception actually is easily the most aggressive approach that we've had to making a fighting game. The story in Mortal Kombat Deception starts up exactly where the last Mortal Kombat game left off. The player can see exactly what happened to the deadly alliance of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, and then it kind of takes off from there and introduces the whole Dragon King storyline, as well as this other kind of Sujinko character storyline that we've are introducing in Deception. Online play is probably one of the most exciting features that we've added to Mortal Kombat Deception. Since the arcades have kind of died down over the years, bringing Mortal Kombat online really kind of recreates that whole experience where you're able to go online, play against people that you don't know, see how your skills compared to them. And we're really excited about the fact that you're going to be able to play these different modes of play online as well. And I think it's going to add a huge new kind of fire to the whole fighting game genre that has never really existed before since the 90s. Every Mortal Kombat game that I'm going to be involved with is going to have Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I don't think anybody can really imagine those characters not in a Mortal Kombat game. But since we have so many characters from the previous games, we're doing a lot to introduce some of the classics that haven't been seen for 8 years. Characters like Nightwolf, Sindel, and as well as some of the favorites from Deadly Alliance like Blind Kenshi and Boraicho. A lot of this game, a lot of Mortal Kombat Deception is the result of feedback that we've gotten from players, and they wanted to see certain characters return, they wanted to see certain features return, and a lot of it is kind of like our response to those requests. Every Mortal Kombat game has introduced some characters to the whole mix, and seeing as we've been around making Mortal Kombat games for 12 years, we have a cast of over 40, maybe 50 characters that we can pick from. The main thing we've done in terms of getting more realistic characters is we've done a lot of research and work on enhancing our graphics engine since Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. And with that extra time, we've managed to really increase the performance that we get out of the current generation of consoles. Mortal Kombat Deception has a much more responsive control and a lot faster attacks than any of the Mortal Kombat games before. In particular, it really has a more varied approach to the fighting styles. The different fighting styles that a character has are going to be much more varied compared to the previous game. They have a lot more faster attacks with weapons, a lot more of a faster hand-to-hand style, and the control of your character in particular is a lot more responsive than any of the other Mortal Kombat games. These new features that we've added to Mortal Kombat Deception are something we've always wanted to do since the last game. We've really tried to take the approach of not only listening to what the players want, but also giving them something that they're not expecting. And really nobody in the industry is really expecting us to do something like this. The natural progression of a fighting game is usually focusing in on just the mechanics of fighting. We've done that, but we've also really tried to take massive steps in terms of just improving the entire experience of playing Mortal Kombat. Fatalities have always been a very popular feature in the Mortal Kombat games, and this is another area where we've really listened to the players that have given us response. Mortal Kombat Deception has 2 fatalities per character, as well as a new feature which we're calling the Harry Carry move, where basically the player can finish himself off and not give the opponent the satisfaction of doing it. We've always taken the approach with Mortal Kombat to try to be different from the other games. I think a lot of the other games try to mimic each other and try to, incorporate certain features and maybe enhance it on that, whereas Mortal Kombat has always tried to be just the most outrageous, fun experience for the player, the most accessible fighting game that there is out there. And I think that really shows by how many games we tend to sell with every version. And that's kind of like our approach to making the new games. It's always been, let's create something new as opposed to trying to mimic something that was already done on another game and enhance that. Mortal Kombat Deception's Conquest mode is really kind of like a game in itself. It really has a lot of elements, RPG elements, adventure game elements, and at the same time it serves as like a training system for people who don't know fighting games too well. It teaches you the basics of the punching, the kicking, the maneuvering around your opponent, and at the same time, it's kind of it's really like an avenue for us to tell the most expansive story that we have in any Mortal Kombat game. But we also wanted to add different modes of play that have nothing to do with the fighting game. You know, we have a puzzle game that's built into it. We have an adventure mode that's built into it, and we have like a board game that you play, which is kind of like a higher level strategy that you play in order to. It's a lot of similarities to chess, where instead of taking the piece, you play Mortal Kombat to see who wins for that piece. All of these combined together really have made Deception like the most content-filled fighting game ever made, you know, bar none. And because the backgrounds are so varied in different sizes and shapes, you're actually, part of your decision of which character you want to pick is going to be based on which background are we going to be fighting on, because certain characters will have advantages and disadvantages based on the background that you're fighting on, because the characters are varied in speed, size, you know, ability, and with that mix, I think that's going to make it a lot more of an unpredictable outcome of the fight in the fighting game. Mortal Kombat Deception has added a new feature we call the death traps, where basically some of the backgrounds have areas that are dangerous where you can take damage. Not only take damage, but some backgrounds will actually have an area that will kill you instantly. So you can be losing a round, have no energy left, and lure your opponent into the one death trap, throw them into a big meat grinder, and boom, you've won the round. And that whole kind of unpredictable, you know, turn the tables approach to the fighting game is really something that's new, and it's gonna be interesting to see how people use that strategy online as well as off.